Hey, I'm Amy Chang. I'm a nationally board certified health and wellness coach, and this is Healthy AF. In this podcast, I'll be bringing you all things health, from the newest health strategies to how to tackle those personal roadblocks that just will not let you move forward. So buckle in. We're going to be inspired and instructed, and dadgum, we're going to have a little fun on Healthy AF. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Healthy AF. I'm super extra excited. Well, I say that every time. I am super extra excited, particularly because I get to share with you my friend Jay Jones. Jay Jones is a fellow coach, and I think I want to introduce him as this. Every time I spend time with Jay, I come away feeling heard, loved, connected, and held to my very best self. And his wife, Lynn, is fantastic as well. So I have a little bit of jealousy over the power couple thing, but I still like Jay anyway. Welcome, Jay Jones.
What's up? How you been?
Pretty good. Hanging in. Just got through the Thanksgiving holiday. I saw that you were cooking for Thanksgiving.
Yes, very much so.
Mm-hmm. Is that your
That's my
jam?
jam. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I cook weekends and all holidays.
Uh-huh. All right. Is that like a love language, or is that I want to put my headphones on and be in the kitchen by myself, or what is that?
Um, Kind of both.
Mm-hmm.
It is my wife and I's first, I guess, official and probably our only actual date. Um, I cooked for her,
Oh, really?
and we were in high school.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. So that's
What did
kind
you cook
of
for? Do you remember?
Um, yeah, it's ribeye, just simple
Mhm.
ribeye, some uh fresh cut fries, salad,
Mm.
nothing serious.
What
But
time are we eating? Be there at 7?
we're- yeah, come on. But yeah, that was just like, first and foremost, she was the only girl that had ever actually met my family.
Mm.
So I was a different Jay in that window of life. So it was like I wanted to spend some time with her, and being out with her,
Different.
it would have gotten us nowhere.
Yes.
So we
Huh.
stayed in, I cooked for her, and yeah, we've been together since.
Gosh, how many years is that?
Gosh, since that 28.
Mm.
Yeah, about 28 years. We've been married 25 years.
Yeah.
September 23rd is 25 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Gosh. Yeah, jealousy pangs over here. That's awesome, Jay.
Hey,
And to see you two together, you're salt and pepper.
I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah,
That's that's the goal.
yeah.
That's the goal.
Right. That is to be married to your best friend that you happen to be in love with. Yep,
Yes.
that'd be good. That'd be good. Okay, so I want other people to know everything about Jay. So, what is it you'd like to tell us in a nutshell, or a walnut size shell, or even like an army trunk about who is Jay Jones?
Jay Jones, kid from the south side of Wilmington, North Carolina. Um, just a kid. I grew up a lot of family. We stayed together most of my life, but whether it was in the projects or when my grandmother finally moved out of the projects, it's somehow we all ended up in the same house together at the same time throughout the years of my life, which is why I value alone time
Mm.
and being in my home alone now. But outside of that, I'm first and foremost a husband, then a father, and then I try to serve those in proximity to me, just kind of as a conduit for, to kind of what Amy said. It's like, so it's encouraging to hear that you feel that way when you're around me, because that's always my hope, is that people around me feel connected and heard and loved,
Oh,
whether I know you or not. I usually, um, so backtrack. I was the serial new kid growing up. So I don't truly know how to be a stranger.
Mm.
So
The
it's
first
like,
time we met, do you remember the first time we met?
yes, yes, yes.
Do you
Coach's
remember that
lunch. Yes,
you allowed and I asked, "Hey, you want to share some of that food?"
that's it. Yes. But
Yeah.
that was just it. I was,
Mhm.
my mom was the runner in the family. So if it was ever not going her way, we left.
Mm.
So that put me in 7 elementary schools, in the 6 years of elementary school.
Wow.
So it was, I didn't have a core group of people, of friends until probably middle school, early high school. So I didn't know what that was preparing me for at that time, but now I know that if I go to a conference and there's 2,500 people there, I'm meeting 2,499 people.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I just I want to love on people because I
Mm.
don't like them all the time.
Truth.
So I definitely want to love on them every opportunity I get.
Mm.
But that's Jay.
That's Jay. Well, that certainly has been my impression of Jay. So, I don't know where your people lie when they start coming to coaching. My people lie, and I laid for decades of my life not knowing me. And so
Mhm.
my life, although I had a lot of accomplishments, didn't always align or feel as accomplished as who I really wanted to feel like.
Mm,
So
yeah,
kudos.
I know that person. Been
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Visit there every once in a while
Me
now.
too. I had a temper tantrum in the gym this morning and I was
Oh
like,
wow.
who is it? Yeah. Yeah. It was a little, I had a little, couple tears, little bit
And
happened.
that's the best though.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the best. Those unsolicited ones that you can't control
Mm.
because you know it's getting out what can't stay anymore.
Yes. Yes. Those are good tears. These were not those. These
No?
were, I'm mad because my body is not doing what I want her to do right now. And I'm
Ah,
not being patient and I'm not being respectful. And my ego is running the show. And it didn't.
yeah, yeah. So that normally lands me with the injury.
100%. a
Yeah.
100%. And so
So
I
I
used
know
all my
that person.
tools.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know that person as well. Yeah.
Hmm.
Last Thanksgiving, I tore my extended tendon in my right middle finger.
Mm. How'd you do
Same
that?
thing. Uh
Yeah.
Football,
Yeah.
of course, football. And completely turned it facing me and I popped it back forward and ran 2 more plays to win the game
Oh.
as the quarterback. And I'm right-handed, but we won, and that's the important thing. So, but
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
so
That's
now,
funny.
my right middle finger will never be straight again. But hey,
Oh.
I won the game.
You won the game. Yes, I did. I had to have a talking to myself like, do you want to like win the game of this workout or do you
Mhm.
want to maintain your commitment to love your body and be
Mm.
patient with her and, stay physically active in a group and like all that other stuff that you're really committed to or do you just
Oh
want
yeah,
to want what you want when you want it?
yeah,
And right
yeah,
there in that moment I was like, I
yeah,
kind of just want what I want when I want it.
yeah, 1,000%.
So I told a fellow gym member, I was like, I think I need to have some time out today.
Yeah, you'll get it back. It's
Yeah.
just, you got to have those moments though,
Oh,
just
you
to,
do.
to take that time and zoom out and see the whole picture,
Yep. It
you know.
solidifies your commitment.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about commitment for a minute because you have on your screen faithful to the assignment. That's the name of your business, and that's how
Hmm.
you work as a coach. Tell me
Yes.
about Jay Jones, the coach. Why'd you do
Um,
that? What possessed you to do that?
like most of the things I've done in my life, it wasn't by choice.
Mm,
Um, I wasn't a dreamer as a kid. I never saw anything get done. So my goal growing up was just to grow up. Like I
mm,
felt as though I would be lucky if I just make it to grow up. And then I grew up and I had to figure out what I was supposed to do as a grown up because I had made it further than, most of the people that I had the opportunity to watch growing up.
mm,
And but what landed me in the space, so I spent a decade and a half overseeing student ministries and youth ministries. Um, and how I landed in coaching um, was kind of through the pipeline of mentoring
mhm,
uh, those high schoolers and college students and young adults. And what I learned was that youth grow up and they still need you the same. And so I was mentoring a handful of guys and helped a few of them start some ministries, start some businesses and stuff. And, their stuff was going great. And then they all kind of turned and rebelled against me and was like, okay, you have to do something because more than just us need this.
mm,
Um, they partnered with my wife and they kind of all jumped me and made me do it. And one Father's Day, 7 years ago, my wife hands me a box and completed LLC with business cards and a website login and all of the things. And we officially got rolling at that point.
mm,
We existed probably 6 years prior, though, just out of that initial group of guys, entering college, some coming out of college, but ultimately, even getting into youth ministry, I saw what I needed
mm.
at that age, and I was like, okay, how do I pour into that space?
What was that you needed, Jay?
I needed mentorship. I needed mentorship. I needed, you know, just guidance. So my father was murdered when I was 4. So I didn't know him growing up. The men in my family were in and out of prison, or if they weren't in and out of prison, they just moved away and was that family member, the one that moves away and has a whole nother life. And
Mm,
if they are nearby, they're here for 48 hours and then they're gone. So that was what I'm trying to draw from. So the man I initially became was the result of uh you know the drug dealers in my neighborhood, the rap music that I listened to, and the R&B music that I listened to. So I was really raised by nine women, my mom, my grandmother, and a bunch of aunts, and it was just I never had a male figure to pour into me until I was an adult. And then the first one I actually had, um, he went through a life crisis and it totally derailed me.
mm.
Um, and that was probably my first bout of depression. The only thing was I didn't have language to
And how
identify
old were
it.
you then?
27.
Mm.
And
And you
again,
did not have language for that depression.
I didn't know what it was
Mhm.
because ultimately, and as I've gotten older, I I've learned that it's not just in the African American community, but in most men's lives. Um, you just don't get that. It's you fall down, you don't cry, you rub some dirt on it, you keep going forward. Um, and that was just, what I was doing and how I was going about it. And I was in this state and I was feeling all of these things and I didn't know what to do with it.
Mm,
And I rebelled against everything good in my life because this person who was now my mentor, his life fell apart. So I disqualified myself.
mm,
I was just like, man, it's like if his life can't work, if his marriage can't work, surely mine's doomed anyway. So instead of instead of me letting it run its course and potentially not derailing, I just jumped the tracks and just threw us off a cliff.
mm,
And, through that time, um, I started dealing with having just random conversations with people that I know, and they didn't really, unfortunately, they didn't answer anything for me,
mm.
but they just sat and listened to me.
God, that's a blessing. People do not have that, Jay, in their normal day life,
Oh, yeah.
especially if they're not already in relationships that encourage vulnerability and sharing and allowing emotions to happen and sort of allowing us to be in the sea of our own discovery.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't happen. Who did
No.
that? Were those the
So,
this
no.
is were those the women in your life? Were those
No,
strangers, mentors?
some not even. So my cousin who's he's wise beyond his years. He's just not a talker.
Mm. Oh, great.
Um, yeah, he's
Especially if you're an
super wise.
external processor.
Yeah, he's a super wise dude. But I have always ultimately been the person everyone went to
Mm,
in whatever that space looked like, whether it's friends, family, sports, even hanging out on the corner with drug dealers at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm the youngest kid up there, and these grown men are telling me about their relationships,
mm,
and me in 10th grade giving them relationship advice, not knowing where it's coming from. It's like, man, well, maybe you should, or maybe you should do this. Well, have you ever thought about this? And then they come back and they're like, little man, I did what you told me and it worked. And
mm,
not, again, not knowing. But in that situation with my cousin, I'm telling him all the things I'm feeling, and he's got nothing to give me. He's just got this blank look. But I believe me hearing me express it audibly helped me to process it.
yeah.
And ultimately, I realized that um, the best thing that had happened in my life and the thing that I probably had prayed more for in all of my days, I was throwing away because
Mm,
of what someone else went through. And I came to that realization and it came clear to me, and I started to backtrack and started to mend things and really do the work to, you know, repair little James,
mhm.
to sit with him and
Can
understand
I
where
can I
those.
pin you right there? Can I pin that right
Mhm,
there?
yes.
Um, so I often say, you got to do your work. I'm doing my work. You got to do your work. Your work is not my work. I can stand
Hmm.
beside you while you do work, but I can't do your work for you.
That's it.
And it dawns on me too, sometimes people don't understand what the work is. So when you were given that gift, that learning opportunity, and you chose to do some work, what exactly did that work look like?
um it started with apologizing.
Hmm. Was that
First.
easy? Or was learning
No.
to apologize was part of the work, or was that just easy?
That was just the beginning of the work,
Mm,
but that was still probably the hardest part of the work.
mm,
um because again, I'm the one everyone goes to. So in most cases, I'm right, or at least
Okay. If Lynn tells me to scrub that out, then if Lynn tells me to
no.
like scrub that part
I'm
out,
just
in
like,
most cases he's right.
yeah, in most cases, like I'm correct,
Hmm.
and it's like, so I've never had a lot of experience with apologizing, like
Mm.
earnestly apologizing. And but that was where the work started. But that was the hardest part of the work, was apologizing to my wife. And then
What made that hard, Jay?
just because she had done nothing wrong.
Mm.
She had done nothing wrong to garner like the behavior I was exhibiting. So yeah, she was that was the hardest part, but that was the beginning of the work. Then from there, it started with a
Mm.
um group of men at my church. They were meeting, and it was just a little small group. And I really didn't know what small group was. I just knew a few of the guys in the group I respected. Like I respected them and who they were. And I go to the group, and I know most of the people there, a couple guys I didn't. But I'm going around the room, I'm hugging everybody. Hey man, Jay. It's like, oh man, yeah, I know who you are. And I sit down and they start talking. And then I realized, I was like, I shouldn't be. So it was it was
What
kind
had
of
you
a,
think that?
well, forget it. It's old now, but it was ultimately, they were kind of like guys recovering from like porn addiction,
Okay.
and everybody was dealing with that. And I didn't know that. Like the group wasn't called like Get Over Porn or something
Yeah.
like that. You know what I'm saying? It was just,
Yeah.
hey, a men's small group. So I went and I'm listening to these dudes go around the room, and then they get to me. And they're like, so what's your story? And I was like,
Not that.
not that, dude. It was
Yeah.
like, I never battled with that. They was like, well, how'd you end up here? And
Yeah.
I was like, I just need to be in the room with some men that are going to open up and that can help me get to that point. And ultimately, I stayed in the group, and then the group kind of shifted more so to um, talking about that when there was like a trigger or a flare up and they were having issues with it. But it turned into like us really sharing our heart and how do we get over hurdles.
Mm.
And that was like, that was probably biggest the biggest help to getting the work started in myself and holding myself accountable
Mm.
and putting people in my life that can call me on my BS. And
Mm.
then it was like um putting barriers in place and safeguarding my functions and how I was moving around, because ultimately, I was still in Wilmington, and I'm still Jay Jones in Wilmington. So it's like people invite me to things and want me to come out to stuff, and me understanding that coming out of what I just went through, this may not be a good look for me.
And
So it
okay, so
was,
to be clear, when you say this may not be a good look, do you actually mean that other people are going to look and judge you, or do you mean this is not a good look? Like this is not something that I want to be surrounding myself with right now? Because those are two different things that I mean, I know that
so
expression, Jay.
a little of both.
Hmm.
So it could have been just a party and me not knowing who's going to be there, and me going, and just again, a picture gets posted of me, a picture gets posted of someone else,
Hmm.
and then there's automatic like, oh, they must have seen each other there.
Okay. Yep.
So optically wasn't a good look, but also uh mentally and emotionally not a good look,
Hmm.
just because um I always used to tell my youth, I was like, before hashtagging was a thing, I would always tell them hashtag run.
Mm,
I was like, if the situation starts becoming something that you can't deal with, run. It's like,
yeah.
don't wait to fight, just run. It's like
Mm,
we can always look back at how the situation was playing out and see what the trigger was in that situation. But you don't hang around to see if that thing triggers you. You get out of there, you get somewhere safe.
yeah.
And so it was putting that in place. And ultimately, like, home was good. Like, Lynn could call me on whatever. I had the group of guys where they were calling me and checking on me. Then I had my own, as far as like out of the home safeguards in place. So much so it was like if I'm leaving work, I'm texting, hey, I'm leaving work, should be home at this time. Or
Mm,
if I'm going somewhere, hey, I just got here. This is who I'll be with tonight. And it's putting those things in place that kind of I kind of just barricaded myself with accountability.
mhm,
And it was the toughest probably 2 years of my life.
mm,
Just just kind of reintroducing myself to myself, you
mm,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I have so much in my brain right now, Jay.
I knew you would.
I do. Well, for one, okay, so let me just give you back what
Let's go.
I'm okay, great. Uh, I too had a moment in my life where I discovered that I had been mentoring people either through the CrossFit gym or, just in general, or, children who had been at my children's school or whatever that was. And then when I started really going through some life changes and, did my first like personal professional development and really started pouring into me and started coaching and being coached, I got served up with my bigness. You say you got
Mm,
jumped. I say I got served up with my bigness. Okay. I
yeah.
finally was around people who would hold me to account and who would say, you are being greedy with what you can offer the world. Now stop playing small. You're bigger. And I did that. I still sort of have to have those supports for accountability in place. One of them
Oh
is
yeah.
these conversations,
Right.
right? Yeah. So I hear that you got told you're being greedy and we're issuing you an invitation to step up and you took it. Yeah, I hear that.
Yes.
And I also hear, I can really relate to your journey in the porn club because, as you know, you might know, I don't know if you know this or not, but a few years ago when I decided to address some of my behavioral patterns and my codependency, my counselor said, I want you to start at Alcoholics Anonymous. And I'm not a drinker. Um, and now I'm totally sober, but I wasn't a drinker then. And she said, every time they say drinking, I want you to think obsessive thinking.
Mm, that's
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's good.
And
Wow.
I did that. And I stayed actually in AA meetings for 5 months before then I found Al Anon, which is for family and friends of alcoholics.
Mhm.
And what I find in both those spaces, when I started going to AA, um, I could relate. Like you found your home with those men who had a problem that you didn't have. The vulnerability there and the willingness to be honest and work on oneself and rediscover and recreate oneself. I think to first rediscover yourself, you got to discover yourself. And typically, when we go through that, the discovery process of ourselves is not pleasant. because we don't like us. We're not doing stuff that we're really committed to, and that shit stinks.
Yes. Every time.
Yep. Every time. Even when it's like, oh, I threw a temper tantrum today.
Yeah.
You know, it stinks. And so it was good to go through that and good to rediscover myself and to recreate myself. And I did that with AA. And I also discovered that many of the people around me had either were addicts or died or suffered from addictions of some sort, and that I was in exactly the right place that I needed to be. And it served me well being in that group. And so I hear that in your story. You had to get into a group of people who were willing to recognize their um, own selves, the real selves, and
Yeah.
then recreate and rediscover. And you had the blessing of being able to do that.
Yeah. For sure. Those, yeah, those guys, without that group, like I always overemphasize, it's like we can't do this alone.
No.
No matter how much we want to get to the mountaintop and take the credit for being self-made and all that. I was like, that's a non-existent
It is non-existent.
space. It's like that's a non-existent space. Like that does not exist. Like
Mm-mm.
nobody's self-made.
Mm-mm.
It's like it's impossible.
Mm-mm.
But no, yeah, for sure. That's crazy.
Yeah.
AA, huh?
Oh yeah, it saved me. It really, a whole group of alcoholics saved this girl big time,
Wow.
and are some of my very closest friends.
No, that's awesome. I mean, it that like me occupying that space with them, it turned me into what Lynn would say, a oversharer now.
Maybe that's why we get along so well.
Right. Because I'm like, it is what it is. It was,
Yeah.
just, I took the scripture, overcoming by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony.
Mm.
I took that to heart. Like I can't save anybody,
Yeah. No.
but I can tell you what it did for me.
Yep.
So anybody I encounter, if I'm prompted, given the window, I'll give you my dirt.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you my dirt if it's gonna soil or fertilize what you
Mm-hmm.
got going on and help you grow. It's like I'll give it to you. It's like I don't care.
It's
It's
going
like
to move you forward.
I'm
Yep.
not too proud at
Mm-mm.
all.
No, I'm not interested in people standing back and watching my life and going like, "Oh, wow, that's an interesting movie." I
Hmm.
can't believe she did that. Or
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Oh, that sucked. Can't believe he did that." But if they're going to look at my life, the good, the bad, the nasty, the growth, the everything, I'm happy to share it if
Oh
they
yeah.
find some empowerment, some hope, I looked at people, especially during the last couple of years. I'd find people in my groups who had what I wanted, and I surround people. I would surround myself with people who have what I wanted. The other thing that you said that I thought of was when you talked about you just didn't do certain things or hang out with certain people, whatever that is.
Mhm.
Um, I call that the hot stove,
Mm,
and I had to learn many, 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 many
yeah.
times not to put my hand on that hot stove.
Yeah.
Some stoves are easier for me to avoid than other stoves, right?
Hmm.
But eventually, if I keep getting the gift of a growing opportunity, then I keep learning to not put my hand on that stove. And I
Yes.
also use the whole like I have a bubble, okay? And it's sort of my reverent sanctuary bubble where everything that lives in this bubble is authentic, and it's me and it's mine. And I protect that bubble.
Yeah.
So if I can see a chaos bubble happening over there, I'm like, no, my that's too close to my bubble.
Yeah. Oh
And I
yeah.
don't have to be mad at the chaos. I don't have to
No.
be angry. I don't have to judge. I don't have to do any of that. I can just go like, oh, I see chaos. That's too close to my bubble. So my bubble's going to be over here. And
Yeah.
when the chaos settles, I'll be happy to come back over here.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
I
see,
hear, and that is tough.
where
That's
mine
tough.
alters is my bubble's gonna move. I'm not coming to where you are. You're welcome to come to where I am.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one, Jay.
So it's like, yeah, I'm not falling back
Mm-mm.
for
No.
you,
Mm-mm.
but my hand's always out for to bring you where I am.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, that's trust me. I
Yes.
my wife Lynn tells me all the time. She's like, I have a switch, and she was it was like once that switch is hit, it's like they disappear, like they vanish. It's
Yeah.
magic. It's like, yeah, I
Mm.
can't do that. Click, and
Yeah.
it's like they don't. It's great. It's a great tool. Um, it has its disadvantages sometimes as well, because Lynn will
Mhm.
bring up somebody to me, and I'm like, I have no idea who you're talking about. And she will continue, she will continue to describe said person to me, and then ultimately she goes to social media, finds them. I was like, oh yeah, I remember them.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, it's like no, I'm not playing in your chaos with you.
Mm-mm. No, I have really worked on and continue to work on detach with love. I love
Mm,
that one. Detach
hmm.
with love, not detach with judgment, not detach with anger, not cut people off so that they're dead to you, not
Hmm.
but lovingly detach. And I try to even think of it from like those are behaviors that I can't be around. I'm not
Yeah.
willing to be around those.
Nah, you have to do it. You have to have, like, I've had to do it with, like, with kids I was their youth pastor.
I didn't know what you were going to say. I did it this weekend with my kid.
You
So
have
when you
to
said I had to do it with my kids, I was like, oh, yeah,
listen. No, you have to. And I
you
tell my
have
mom
to.
this all the time,
Yep.
because I have younger siblings, and I'm like, Mom, it's like you did your job. Like you're good.
Yep.
Like all of us are 30 plus. It's like you did more than your job.
Yep.
It's like you don't have to put up with that. And getting my mom to see that is the hard thing,
Because
and it
there's
drives me.
nobody who can push my triggering like my loved ones, my family, my
Oh yeah,
children. My children, you talk like I get scared
especially
about
your
their future.
children.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So I had to do, I had to have a timeout this weekend. I was
Yeah,
mad and I had to get straight on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all about the departure. It's like I'm not gonna blow up. We're not gonna have a
Right.
confrontation. I'm gonna gracefully step away, give you your space, and I mean, and with this particular one, he was close proximity.
Mm,
And I stepped away, and
yeah.
4 years later, I get a phone call out of nowhere, and he was like, "Man, it was harsh, but he's like, you always tell me to zoom out, and I zoomed out and looked at the whole thing, and I saw what I was bringing around you, and I apologize."
Mm,
And I was like, "Too easy. You're back in. Let's go." So
yeah. Yeah,
I was
really. It
like,
doesn't
"Yeah,
take, it's funny. I was going to say it doesn't take much. It takes a lot, depending on what you're in, but, but it doesn't, it's, one of those simple, not easy things. Like it
right.
takes a lot. Looking at yourself is a lot. Okay.
Oh yeah."
But all it takes is like looking at yourself.
Yeah, no, he he came to me. He was like, dude, he was like, I was so mad at you he was like, I was mad at you for probably 3 of the 4 years that we hadn't talked. And then this past year, it was like everything I was trying to get done, all I could hear was your voice in my head telling me something that you had already told me 1,000
Mhm.
times, and I just wouldn't do it because I'm hearing your voice say it.
Yeah.
He's like, started doing all the stuff I was hearing in my head. Now my life's great. And I was like, I just needed to call you and apologize. So it's just, yeah, it's
And
you have
then
to
it'll
do
be
it.
where the rubber meets the road too. I find that
Hmm.
that's true too. One thing I really liked about your story, Jay, is that you said that you created multiple paths of accountability. And where I think that some of us fail is we see the shizzle that we live in and the things that we've been doing, and we're not proud of them, and they hurt and it feels yucky. And we might apologize, but then moving forward, do we actually continue to do that, or do we slip into blaming or
Oh yeah.
hiding out in shame? I mean, I will say this is the fruits of my work in the 12 step programs and in general, just in the last decade. I got angry with one of my kids. I was able to say, I'm angry with you and I'm not ready to talk. Then I was able to say, I know now how I feel. Can we discuss? They were like, yes. I shared what I needed to share without oversharing, without preaching, without advising, without making wrong, without judging. I got to say, like, I was very angry. This did not work for me. And that sweet kid said, there's really nothing for me to say. I, I did that, and that was not okay. All right. And about 30 minutes later, they said, I really want to just blame you and dad, but I know that this is all on me.
Mm.
And man, if they can get that in their 20s, I didn't get that until I was almost 50. If they can get that in their 20s, what a gift that
Yeah.
will be. I did something, I didn't like it. Not like you might have liked it, but
Yeah.
it wasn't right. It didn't align with me.
Yeah.
There's nothing for me to say or do besides I'm sorry. And I'm taking responsibility for that. And that's what I really hear when you say, I, made this decision to turn my life around because I was pissing it away.
Yeah. That
You
was
know,
it. But
Mhm.
no, that's it. Because like I
You
said,
took responsibility.
you have to. But I was 30. I was
Hmm.
30, you know, um, before I got that. But I never learned it
Mm-mm.
because in my family, like the ecosystem that I resided in, if I was mad at you, we argued, we
Yeah.
fought, and then we didn't talk to each other until we had to, and then act like it never happened.
Oh, girl. Yeah. Hmm.
And I'm like, I'm just not set up that way. It's
No.
like I don't play cards. Like I don't play cards because I watch people fight
Mm.
over cards growing up.
Yeah.
Like just this Thanksgiving, like they were in the house playing cards, and it was, kids playing, everybody playing. It's like, you gonna play? I was like, no, I don't play cards. It's like, what do you mean you don't play cards? You were a Marine. It's like, yeah, still don't play cards. And it's like they couldn't understand it, and I explained it to them. It's like, listen, like I've seen people, seriously injured over card games.
Yeah.
Games.
Hmm.
It's like not even money on the line,
Yeah.
just a card game.
Just two big egos.
And I'm like,
Not enough room for both those egos. Yeah.
so as a kid, early in life, I was like, oh, okay, I'm not into that.
Hmm.
But I was the kid, like, I was the kid that believed you. You told me the stove was hot. It's like, all right, cool. I don't need to see. If you
Oh,
tell if you tell me it's hot, okay, cool.
Jay, I wish.
Oh, I'm telling
This
as
girl
if I,
got to burn her hand 11 times. And I have often wondered to
not
myself,
me.
why, Amy, do you have to walk yourself into a big, massive mistake to have a learning opportunity? I don't have an answer for that. But I do know I'm
Yeah,
very consistent. I will learn, but I've got to walk my feet in there. I think I'm getting a little bit, I think I'm getting a little bit better,
yeah.
actually. Yes, I do. And I think like pausing, slowing down, not being in drama and not living so fast, not, like, now I stop and think about stuff. Even this morning
Yeah.
when I was at the gym and irritated, I go in the bathroom between rounds. We had like 3 rounds with a 3-minute break in between. Each round was like 6
Oh,
minutes.
that's right. You're a CrossFitter.
I am. And so I go into the bathroom to take a pee, and I'm saying to myself, like, hey, do you want to be here? Do you want to do this? Like, even then, I'm like, are you grateful for your body for doing this? So, the pausing between I don't like this and, acting bullheaded,
Oh yeah.
either with fixing it, I've just got to work harder, I've just got to do more, I've just got to earn more money, I've just got to, or
Yeah.
by the like, it's her fault, it's their fault,
Yeah.
any of that. No. And I said in the bathroom this morning, I was like, okay, Amy, I don't like this, and that is okay. Like, get over yourself, baby girl.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's
Yes.
okay not
Yeah.
to like it.
The crazy thing is none of it's about us.
Yeah.
That's where we screw everything up.
Mm.
It's like once we make ourselves the focus, and it's crazy to think about, and I never thought about it that way until I work out with F3. And so I'm talking these guys through this workout that I put together. And this guy, he's struggling, but
Mhm.
he's also a football coach. He's a football coach, overweight, but he brought some of his players out there.
Oh, so he's a
And
role model.
so he's going through this thing, and and as a Marine, leave no man behind, but
Mhm.
also F3, leave no man where you found him. So I'm
Mm.
right there with him, and I'm like, dude, it was like, he's like, I gotta do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I was like, what makes you think this is about you?
Mm.
What in your head makes you think that this is about you? He
Mm.
was like, all of those kids that you brought with you have completed this, are at the finish line, and I'm back here with you. Tell me what part of this is about you.
Mm.
And he did them. He got through them, and his kids watched him struggle and
Yes.
get through them. I'm like, dude, it's like you're golden in their eyes. Had
Mhm.
you quit that morning? I'm like, bro, you're done. It
Yeah.
was like you, it's like, and we get in our own way,
I think,
like
yeah,
it's
I think,
about
I
us.
think both ways, because I actually said to myself this morning, um,
Who's
Amy,
watching you?
yeah,
Who's
I
who's
said
watching you have this tantrum?
exactly. And I said to myself this morning, Amy, if you need to stop, then you need to stop.
Mhm.
It's not quitting. It's not, pull up your big girl panties and suffer. It's check in. If this is still the right decision for you, keep going.
Yeah,
If this is not the right decision for you anymore, then stop. It's not quitting because you're scared. It's not quitting because you're in your head. It's taking your own power for your own body, for Pete's sake,
that's
and
it.
saying, like, actually, this doesn't feel good for me anymore, and I need to stop. Now, you know, we can split hairs over. I'll tell you, I'll just fess up.
Yeah, I was
I
about to
do
say, just
not
come
do
clean.
I do not do well with coaches who, and this isn't for everybody. This is how I personally like to be coached and do not like to be coached. I
Mhm.
do not do well when I am in struggle, when someone says, "Come on, Amy," because I have like 158,000% of come on in here that I'm trying to like,
Quiet.
mm-hmm.
You've got your own come on.
I got so much come on, that's a hot stove for me, Jay. I
Yeah,
keep my hand off that hot stove because the come on leads me into like shame and
yeah,
comparison and injury and just not enough and
yeah,
all of it. It's a stinky place for me to go. And
yeah.
so when I'm being
Come ons
coached,
are tough.
come ons are tough. And when I'm being coached, if I am telling someone, if they ask me, how do you like to be coached? I like to hear, you've got it. I don't want to be screamed at. And I don't want to hear a come on. I
Yeah.
just want, you got it.
I don't need the come ons. If you need to yell, yell. But let your yelling be direction or instruction.
Mm.
It's like, don't tell me come on. I'm coming on, dude.
Oh, I'm coming as hard and as fast as
I'm
I can.
coming.
It may not look like much to you, but this girl is trying.
I just need to know
Yeah.
where we're going. Like,
Yeah.
show me where, how, once I get over this,
Yeah.
like, yell at me if you need to, which even in student ministries, which is why I never worked with middle school down,
Yeah.
because I stepped into that space coming straight out of the Marine Corps.
Oh,
And my filter wasn't set up for like compassion and nurturing and tact
yep.
in the framework of a middle schooler. And I
Mm.
was like, I can't tell a 11-year-old they're stupid because of something they did, because they're going to go home and then I got to fight a dad
Yeah.
or argue with a mom because I told their kid they were stupid,
Yeah.
although I was probably right.
Well, I'll tell you
So,
what, if you told me I was stupid today, there would,
yeah,
I mean, in all reality, I would probably do the workout and then slink out and not come back.
yeah,
But in my fantasy world, I'd be throat punching you. I
yeah.
just don't
But
deal
no,
well with that. Now, I've had athletes, I'll say two things. A, I've had athletes ask me that that's a motivator for them. And I get it. I don't typically, I can't coach like that well. It's just not well
no,
aligned with what I
no,
like.
it's just, it wasn't a motivator.
Mm-mm.
It
And
was
I
a,
didn't know until I was
it
37.
was, it's an actual, like, you did this,
Oh, that's stupid.
this was stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I can take that one.
I'm never gonna call you stupid,
Yeah.
like, as in you're stupid, but understand you're residing and stupidity is all over you right now. And I need you to understand that this isn't what we do.
yeah.
Um, but a high schooler,
Oh,
college, young adult, I can have that conversation.
yeah.
Even when when we pivoted into relationship coaching
Mhm.
and premarital and all of those
Yeah.
things, you have to have those conversations
Oh, I
because you,
totally get that. Thank you for clarifying, Jay. Yeah.
yeah,
That's totally,
yeah,
I usually say ding dong. You're being a ding dong.
yeah,
And I
no.
still say that to myself sometimes now. I'm like, God, you're being such a ding dong.
No, I just, yeah, well, it's hadn't even been recent. It's been probably 7, 8 years now. Because I used to say it's the Marine thing.
Mm,
Stupid went with everything in the Marine Corps.
mm,
And I had to get away from it because it got to that point to
yeah.
where people, I knew what stupid I was throwing out. They didn't know what stupid I was
Yes.
throwing out.
Yes.
And Lynn pointed that out to me. So I made that adjustment.
She's so
But
smart.
yeah, she, 'cause I mean, she lives with me. So she hears uh, she hears my wording different than everybody else.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you
She,
talking about? That was fine. She's like, no, babe, it wasn't.
well, and she's in
Like,
branding. So I'm sure she has a very distinct lens for
yes,
your personal branding.
yes. But even me, I mean, I'm ultimately overall, I'm an acquired taste as it pertains to coaching, mentoring, advising, anything. Um, because that, like, I'm not a coddler. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna coddle you. Um, I'm I, I'm more likely to kick you in the butt rather than cheer you on. And it's like that's why we do discovery sessions.
Yeah.
It's like, let's spend 30 minutes together. Let's see if you even like me.
Yeah. Hmm.
Let's do that. Because I have men come to me all the time and it's like, man, I need you to coach me or I need you to mentor me. I'm like, I don't think you do.
Is you think that okay, so let's just let's do this.
Mhm.
What are let's get crazy. Um for people listening, okay? people are at different stages of change, and
Mhm.
people are more willing. They have more skills than others. You know, like I said, it takes me 45 times putting my hand on the hot stove. It may just take you
Mhm.
somebody saying, "Hey, you need a mentor to pull triggers and get a mentor or a coach or whatever." How can you express to people when they are ready to make changes in their lives? Because sometimes we think we're ready because we're uncomfortable with where we are.
Mhm.
And then actually, we do a half hearted attempt, or we slip into blame and complacency, or we, I don't know, say we're going to do something and then we don't again.
Mhm.
How do you know you're ready to really make the changes?
When you can look at yourself and identify that you do all of those things,
Hmm.
that I'm a serial starter,
Hmm.
I'm a serial starter. Um, I'm okay with my shortcomings. Um, when I realize that I know nothing about me.
Yeah, that's a big one. Most of my clients come to me and they don't realize yet that they don't know anything about them.
Oh yeah.
And that's
Especially in
the first place you got to
couples.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to when it's that was when I knew I needed a coach.
Mm.
And I was already in faithful. Like I was already doing this. Like I was doing it, and some would say successfully, but I got to the point to where I was like, how how do I was like, I don't know anything else to do.
Mm.
I know this isn't all because I still work in corporate America.
Mhm.
It's like I know this isn't all because there's more to do, but I don't know anything else to do.
Yeah.
And again, I'm normally the person in my group that knows what to do next.
Mhm.
And I had to come to that realization that like, dude, that's like it's like Jay, I got nothing else for you, bro.
Mm-mm. No. Okay. So when you don't know what else to do, when you have recognized that you keep doing stuff, but either not following through on them or it's not getting you the results you want. Like you have gotten that promotion, you still do not feel fulfilled. You
Mm,
have lost that 25 pounds. That's my favorite as a health coach. They
mhm,
just lost the 25 pounds.
yeah,
They still don't feel confident. They still don't feel beautiful or capable or, enough. And so they thought that they were buying all those things with the
mhm,
size 6 jeans,
right,
and it didn't relate. And now they're like,
yeah,
wait a minute. So
yeah. The why
those
was wrong.
things, oh, yeah, 100%.
The why was wrong. Um,
Mhm.
and I always look at things from the perspective of marriage. Um, just because that's the most thing I deal with right now. But um, I was I was at a conference. This guy he had just got married, maybe 3 years. Um, and it was the week prior to my 24th wedding anniversary.
Mm,
And I get up and I share at this conference. And then I sit down and he comes over to me. He's like, listen, man, I know a lot of people are trying to get to you, but I need you to tell me, like, how do I make it to 24 years? And I was like, it's like one thing. He's like, one thing, however many things you got, but if it's like something, I was like, be present. I was like, why'd you marry this woman? He's like, bro, it's like loving my life, my best friend, all of this good stuff. I was like, that's wonderful, bro. Now be present for the journey. Because that woman that you said I do to, that's the last time you stood in front of that woman.
mm,
That next morning, she was now officially spent a whole 24 hours as a wife. Now she's going to expect husband things out of you that you
mm,
didn't know you signed up for. Now, as she goes and she meets friends who are entrepreneurs, who have come off of their 9 to 5s, um, or separate herself from friend groups
Mhm.
because they're okay working their 9 to 5s and they don't want any more. But now she wants more. You need to be present and aware of who she becomes to obtain that more. Because every time she wants something different, she has to become a different iteration of who she was
Mhm.
to get to that thing. Now, if you stand by as a husband and you just watch and you're like, man, baby, she's killing it. You're not elevating with her.
Mm-mm.
You're not being present for these changes. You're not identifying who she is at every step of the way. Tr- Me, Lynn and I, we would not have celebrated 25 years a couple months ago
Yeah.
had I not realized the event planner Lynn
Mm.
wasn't the dental assistant Lynn. The interior designer Lynn isn't the event planning Lynn. The branding and marketing Lynn isn't. And if you're not present for those changes and shifts, you're going to miss it and
And
you're
you're
going to
not
lose your
you're not
why.
having your own.
No.
I mean, it's very difficult to when you're a growth-minded person,
Mhm.
very difficult to surround yourself with people who are not growth-minded and be fulfilled in those relationships. I'm not
That's
saying you
it.
can't have them. I'm saying they might
No.
not be the ones whose bubbles bump up against your bubble.
Yeah, it's 100% relational intelligence. It's
Mm,
understanding and identifying the everyone in your life and make sure they have the proper job description for
mm,
the space they occupy in your life. It was like I'm not you don't have to cut people off. Like I very rarely cut people off. Everybody plays a role, but as I'm growing, if you're not, and I see that, I understand that I just need to put you in a different department.
yeah.
I'm not going to fire you. I don't
Mm-mm.
do layoffs. Like I've been laid off before. I'm traumatized by layoffs. Like I'm not gonna lay you off. You're not going anywhere. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
shift you to a different department, and my expectations of you are gonna lessen because I can't expect you
Yeah,
to.
the expectation, yeah.
Right. I can't expect,
Yeah.
I can't put bestie expectations on you
Mhm.
when you can't fulfill associate
Yeah.
expectations.
Jay,
Like that's not fair to
please
you.
don't delegate me to the mailroom.
I was just like, it's just putting people where they belong. I was like,
Yeah.
always tell people you don't have to cut people off. It's just
Mm-mm.
put them in their proper position. It was
Yeah.
like, you don't have to remove them from your lives all the time. But
Yeah.
there are occasions where pink slips have to go out and it just is what it is.
And it's
So,
okay.
yeah, it's perfectly fine.
It's okay. Oh gosh. I have loved this conversation, Jay. I think we're pushing an hour.
My
So our time is
goodness, that
I
went
know,
super
right?
fast. We never even got to the holidays.
No, we never got okay, okay.
Amy,
This
we got
is
to do better.
I know. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to give you questions, and you're only allowed to answer with one sentence. I'll do the same. It can't be like a complex run on 3 paragraph sentence.
All right, you got it.
Okay, here we go. Um, what's an area of growth you didn't know you needed?
Communication,
Mine is emotional maturity. Um, area of growth you knew you needed, but thought you would never have.
relational intelligence,
What did I need? I'll just say patience because that's always true for me.
yeah.
What's in your morning routine?
I read, pray, 30 minutes lifting, 1 mile, go to work.
Okay. I do yoga, breakfast with a friend, CrossFit, recovery meetings, meditation in my pajamas.
I like yours better.
We'll swap later. Um, what about the holidays challenges you?
Um, Not having my best friend and my grandmother.
Hmm, yeah. Mine is just that my schedule gets wigged out and I don't do well when my schedule gets wigged out.
Mm.
So, follow up question, and we're going to end on this one. How do you successfully navigate those challenges that you just mentioned over the holidays?
I feel them through.
Hmm.
I feel them through. My grandmother and I, we cook together. So when I'm cooking on that night before, I listen to the music we listen to. She was a Pepsi drinker. Oddly enough, I'm a sales manager for Coca-Cola, but
Trader.
yeah, so it's like she drank a Pepsi and cooked. So I drank a Pepsi and cooked. And then my best friend, Sunday morning, holiday mornings, we were always tasked with running the last minute errands,
Mm,
and we drank Tahitian treat. It's project thing. It was like our drink as a kid. So we always drank it. And then we got to the family function that night, and then we fought over who got the last one. So holiday mornings, I always have a Tahitian treat. And then throughout that time, I have my memories and I
mm,
cry and I cry my way through it and understand that, if they were both here, they would want me to
mm.
be loving on our family that is here, So
Yeah,
I
I
do it.
love
I
that.
feel my way through it.
I love that. And also, I want to know, what is a Tahitian treat?
So it's a fruit punch soda.
Okay. So it's
Um,
in a can or a bottle or something?
it can be purchased both ways, but it's owned by Dr. Pepper Keurig. It's not like a super popular brand, but
Mhm.
it's a brand that we always had in like our community, like corner stores growing up.
Had it.
So it was like always like our go-to drink of
Mm.
choice. And then again, we get to Thanksgiving and not even thinking about it. And then somehow we both end up at the drink table and it's only enough for one cup. And then we'd fight over it for 30 minutes. And yeah, so
Best
that
friend
was our
stuff.
thing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thank
Oddly
you.
enough, that's also my wife's uncle.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. So she is usually sharing a grieving space with me about
Mm,
him as well. So,
yeah,
but
I
that's
love
a different story for another time. We'll do this
the
again.
next episode. Let's see. I deal with my lack of schedule by creating some pockets that feel like schedule. Like, I do not play
Mm,
with my sleep schedule. Like,
right.
if I have one or two nights that are crazy, I make sure I get back on it. I do not play with my solitude time. I don't play with like my exercise time. If I need exercise time, outdoor time,
Yeah.
I make sure I'm like, if I'm operating on like a 30% schedule time, yeah, because it makes me
Yeah.
crazy
No,
for sure.
you gotta have it.
Got to have
I'm
something.
I'm blessed. I'm the only morning person in my house.
Oh,
So I'm good. Like I was out at 5:30 this morning, getting after it, and I'm back home before anybody's awake. So
yeah. Yeah. No, when I stay with my mom, and I stay with her about once a month for a few days. She's a very early morning person. And so by the time I get up, she's already had 2 cups, right? So I'm up at 6. She's up at 4:30. Okay. She is ready.
wow.
And I get to see her once a month, and she's 81, and I want to have conversations with her. So it's not me giving up me, it's me committed to something else. And so we have these conversations right first
Hmm.
thing in the morning, but when I come home, I'm like, Oh, the quiet
Yes.
upon waking is so
So
nice.
what are you doing with those conversations with your mom?
Jay, they go everywhere. It really just depends on the day. And that girl still works full time. Man, if she's going to teach school that day, she's leaving at 6:45 in the morning.
Hmm.
So those conversations are usually quick and, what are we doing for supper and that kind of thing, just getting on the same page. And Sunday morning conversations are really special.
Yeah.
We usually talk about
Well,
deep stuff, how we're growing, what we're struggling with, what we think about her in advanced age. What's my role? How can I stop controlling her health?
mhm.
How can I let go of I'm indeed not in charge? She's not in charge. God's in charge. We don't know what's going to happen. Stop trying to protect her. Those kinds of things. Mostly my
Well,
sanity.
yeah, no, that's yeah, that was next thing. I would say, I mean, you have this platform. I would start having interviews with her.
Yeah, actually, I did one last year,
Yeah,
and it was fabulous.
just start doing that and documenting that.
Mhm.
Because again, my family, I just we didn't talk about our family history and things like
Mm,
that. And my grandmother, my last grandparent, she passed last year, and gratefully, I got to spend a random Saturday 3 hours with her, and she starts talking to me about when she was a little girl,
yep.
and I was just like, "You mind if I record this?"
Mhm.
And she was like, "I don't know what you're gonna do with it, but go ahead." And she let me record it, and we talked for 3 hours about just her growing up, how she ended up in Wilmington,
Yep.
all of these things, and just gathered all of this information about her. And then probably 5 weeks later, she passed,
Mm,
and
what a gift, Jay.
wasn't sick or anything.
Mhm.
Just went, took a nap, and didn't get up. And
Mm,
it was sad, but I have that, and I have those files, and I'll listen to them every once in a while, and
mm.
just you know and a lot of the stuff she shared with me, like, her kids didn't even know, like,
Yeah, no, when we have those conversations, it's a lot about like how mom grew up or what I'm struggling with, what I'm currently struggling with or growing through, and how she could relate to that or couldn't. How sometimes I'm more like her mama or her sister, and she gives me a different perspective, you know.
yeah,
Um, yeah, those conversations are pretty priceless.
yes.
So I will get up and I will talk. I mean, 2 minutes after my feet hit the floor, I take a pee, I take my Synthroid, and then I'm talking to Mama. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, gotta take advantage.
Yeah, you do. All right. So this has been such a fabulous conversation. When people want to talk to you, because they will want to talk to you, how can they get in touch with you, Jay, if they're interested in coaching to see if they're ready?
www dot f8, the number 8,
Mhm.
tha.com. Their Instagram is search faithful to the assignment. I'm
Okay.
the only one. um and yeah, if you're even curious,
Hmm.
let's sit down and talk about it.
Okay.
It's like, if you don't need me, I'm sure you need someone.
Everybody does, right? People need people,
Absolutely.
you know? Yeah, I get that. And we'll put everything in the show notes. So if you're listening to this and you think Jay is awesome and you maybe could have a little slice of what he has, then click the link and go talk to Jay. And don't forget to give yourself some grace because it's tough to look at all that poopy stink we do and to take responsibility for it. But once you start, a whole new life opens up to you. And if you love what you've heard here or you're a little bit curious, don't sit on your hands. Click a link. You can have a consultation with me. You can have a consultation with Jay and get started on creating a life that you really love. Stop being greedy with yourself. Come out here and play big. All right. Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you, Jay, for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Anytime.
Yeah.
You see, we went way over time.
Way over. We could do this again.
Yeah. So we
All
could
right,
talk.
everybody. Happy holidays. Take care of yourself. Like,
Guys.
subscribe, share, and click those links. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Healthy AF podcast. I hope that it has helped you create a new possibility for your health and sets you into action to go get it. If you want more information or if you want to connect with me, visit my website at myhealthylife.coach. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that each new Healthy AF episode will be sent directly to you. Let's take you from where you are to where you want to go.